Hi everyone, this is Jiggie, a portrait and wedding photographer from the Philippines, and welcome to the channel. So in this video, I will be giving some basic composition, lighting, and posing advice through the help of the images that you guys have sent me. So before anything else, if you guys haven't subscribed to the channel and would want to learn more about off-camera flash photography or maybe just photography in general, then this channel is for you. So you might want to consider subscribing, and while you're at it, click that notification bell so that you get notified every time I upload a new video. And if you want to see some of the images that I've created, you could also follow me on Instagram. It's at Jiggie Alejandrino. And it is also on Instagram where I normally announce stuff like this when I did a call to action to ask photographers to send some photos that they would want critiqued. Okay, so here goes. Alright, so in this first image, it's actually not that bad. It's a fairly decent image, but something, let's break it down first. Let's break down composition. Composition, I like it because I like the fact that he framed the subject within a frame. In other words, this trees and this leaves here actually frame the subject well. I like also the way the brown, what she's wearing, stands out from the actual scene. Though this lamppost, I understand why it's here. It's supposed to give a reference of where light is coming from. But to be honest, I find it to be a distraction. I might have framed it out by just maybe angling a little bit going here or just clone it out in post. Now the light direction is coming from here. This is where the flash was put. This was shot with a relatively big light source. As you can see that the light is comparatively soft. Though my problem is it lacks shadows. Something that you guys have to consider is that whenever you're shooting with light, or generally whenever you're shooting, you would want to have shadows, because I can't stress it enough that shadows actually create shape, form, texture, and depth. So don't be afraid to add or keep shadows in your image, because that's the one that gives it that 3D look, that pop that you might be looking for. And so you can see in her face, the lighting turned out to be relatively flat because of the fact that there were no shadows. So you could see the shadow here, giving that indication that the light came from here. Now, since the light came from here, this is now posing. I don't understand why the hands are actually posed this way. It would have been better actually if she just put her hand down, maybe put it somewhere here, twisted her body this way, and gave a little bit more form with her body. And lastly, to be honest, this is your personal preference, of course, when it comes to editing. But since the time of day that this was shot, or the time of day that this lighting was supposed to mimic, was towards sunset, I would assume, I would have actually shifted the white balance of this image to the warmer tone, just to give that look that it is actually sunset. Okay, but overall, a good image to start with. It's just a little bit of tweaking here and there. Okay, so next image. All right. Now, with this particular image, it's highly edited for me, so I can't really say much about the light, or the composition's actually okay. It's not so bad. I wouldn't have left too much headroom here, though I would have brought it down a little bit lower, but it's all right. It's just nitpicking. It's just slightly lower, maybe by an inch or two. But here, I like the pose, I like the softness of the hands, I like this one here, though I would have asked her to bring out her hand a bit more so that it just doesn't look as if it's unnatural. It looks like two big pimples here in the back of his neck. But I like that pose because it's like holding on to the guy's nape, bringing him in, bringing more intimacy into the photo. I actually love doing this pose also. The thing that I would have fixed here maybe is that I would have asked them to remove the hair here just to show more a bit of her face. And here's something that I've learned. It's always nice to make the image or the faces look like a puzzle. In other words, they're supposed to intertwine properly. And how do you do that? By the nose. You look at the nose here. You don't want the nose touching this way. Look at this gap here. she could have actually put her chin down to bring her nose a little bit, and this part here would have slotted perfectly in this area, and just to give a little bit of green left, just so that it looks as if they were meant to be together. But overall, the image is nice. I like it. The editing, I actually personally do like it a lot. It helps in the feel of the image. But again, just those little things that could have made this image really, really beautiful. All right, so this one. Okay, so you've got a light here and a light here. Now, the question would be, is this natural light or is this another flash, and is this another flash? Now, it looks like this is another flash or some sort of artificial light, because you don't see the light spilling here, so that means it's not natural light. So this must have been an LED or some other source of light, because look at the color. The color is very different from the skin tone, or the color that's hitting the skin tone of the girl. And that is something that you guys have to really watch out for, especially if you're going to be doing mixed lighting. In other words, shooting with LED and flash. Color temperature may not be exactly the same, especially if you're using LEDs like this that give a very different color temperature. And one thing I would want to point out also with this image is this one. Make sure that you're actually asking them to relax their fingers so that it looks more natural, and at the same time, because of the fact that she was so tense, she was actually pinching her arm, making it look as if there was fat there, and you wouldn't want that. Okay, composition wise, it's okay. Light wise, for this particular one, is okay. It was shot more or less from here, 45 degrees and 45 degrees up. As you can see here, it's like butterfly lighting already here underneath the nose. And yeah, to be honest, this one is the one that really bothers me a lot. Maybe if you really had no choice and you wanted to salvage this image, then I would do a selective color correction in this area and just made this warmer, just to make everything blend in a little bit more. Okay, but overall, it's actually an okay image. Next. Okay, this one I like and I don't like at the same time. I love images like this. I love it because I love the way it looks. I love the beauty. I think this is in Japan or Korea, one of those countries during cherry blossom season, and that only comes out like 7 days in a year. So beautiful, beautiful image. I like it. I like the way they're composed, though I would have brought them closer towards camera so that they're at least bigger in frame, because the question that you would want to ask in this particular image, that's why I don't like it, is it a landscape photograph or a portrait? It's actually the same type of debate as compared to a hero and a sidekick type of debate. In other words, you have to put focus on one. It's either you make it a landscape photograph or you make it a portrait. You can't have both. So for me, I would have made them go in closer a bit just to show that it is a portrait photograph. It is a photograph of the couple. Well, I'm assuming that's what the photographer wanted to show. And secondly, you could see a slope here, right? Now, naturally, the girl is already smaller than the guy. So why would you want to put the girl on the lower part of the slope and the guy on the higher part of the slope, making the height difference even bigger? I would have flipped them so that the girl would have been here and the guy would have been here. The guy would still have been taller, but at least whenever they're looking at each other, it doesn't look awkward that the guy is doing this and the girl's doing that. Okay? But overall, it's a good image. I really like images like this, though I would pull more focus on them. Maybe I would have popped a light, maybe underexposed this a little bit to bring out more colors too. But of course, this type of image, this light and airy image, is also very, very beautiful. Okay, with this one, I think there was a slight misfocus, or it might have just been the way I upscaled the image, but I think it is a bit misfocused also. But it's a good use of a ring light. See, normally when you have ring lights, the normal tendency is to have the ring light right in front of the model and you shoot right through the ring light. I personally don't like doing that already. So if I were forced to shoot with a ring light, I would move it off axis, in which case this photographer did, creating that, you know, very pleasing catch light already here in the eye. Composition wise, it's okay. But here's the thing. What is this doing here? I don't understand why this is here. And again, when it comes to hands, for me personally, that is the hardest thing to post, especially for a non-model. So if you already feel that that person is not very comfortable where to put her hands, I wouldn't even put it in the frame, or else it looks pretty awkward. In this case, she's actually in between awkward and getting there, but I don't understand the point of why the hand is here, which makes the entire base of the portrait really look very weird. In other words, when you see this one, this is okay framing. This one, you've got your base here, but it now leans towards her right. Therefore, this one actually it attracts more attention than her actual face. Plus, this one really is a major no-no. You could have just easily removed that and, you know, it would have been a better image altogether. But for me, it's a very good start, okay? So next image. I get what this guy was trying to do, but the problem was I don't think the execution was there. Of course, you wanted to go for that gangster dramatic look, but it was shot with light that it's not placed properly. I actually, number one, would have shot this vertically to bring in more of the hand, because the fact that it just crops it here, again, rule of thumb, never ever crop at the joints, because that would make it look very unnatural. So he cropped it right here, so that doesn't make any sense. So you could have brought in a bit more of the hand here. And I would have probably tried to show just a little bit more of his face. If he purposely did not want to show the eyes, you could have shown more and stopped right before the eye. Basically, that's it. And I would have shot this vertical. And maybe I wouldn't have posted him frontal towards the camera. I probably would have angled him and made him look like that. So it makes it more masculine, or maybe this side this way, instead of having to do a frontal like that. Okay, next image. All right, this one. Light-wise, it's okay. It actually fits the scene. I would have want more light to be seen here in the beer, but that really doesn't matter. Again, it's a sidekick versus hero thing. But the thing that really caught my attention with this particular image was that it could have been shot better if he just took like 2 steps back. Because the cropping again was very unnatural. It looks weird, as if they ran out of space and they couldn't shoot any further back. Or I don't know. I don't understand why you would crop the beard this way. I don't understand why you crop the face this way. If you would have shown the entire face and the entire beard, or maybe brought the beard closer and took less of the table and maybe more of the head, that would have actually been a lot better. So this is a problem when it comes to composition, but the lighting is okay, though. This was shot with harsh light, that's okay. If for this particular one, maybe I would have put the light on top instead of the side to create that more gangster, dramatic, or tough look that you're looking for, or you might be looking for. But yeah, I think this is when the pose doesn't really match the light and the composition doesn't really tell the whole story. So yeah, okay, so next image. All right, so pretty good sunset photo, though as I said earlier, it's ironic that we're going to be talking about this, as I think this is the last image. But the first image, I actually discussed not having the subject too much to the side and opening up the body a bit more, and this is the perfect example of that. By having her in a side view, a perfect side view, you're actually not showing any shape, form, texture, or depth in the image, and having the light flat on her face doesn't give any shadows. It looks very unnatural. It looks very weird. The hand placement doesn't really do much. Look at how it looks like a claw. It's not feminine enough to match the pose. I would have opened her up a little bit more, just shoulder here, and brought out the right shoulder. I would have softened the hands a little bit. So one of the techniques in terms of softening the hand is to just make them put it and don't make the palm touch the skin. Basically, just the fingertips to soften the hands. And it would always be nice to have like one hand pointing somewhere. Okay, but hand placement is actually very difficult. And look at this part here. It's just laying. I would have had the elbow a bit bent to give more shape. So With this one also, I guess he was really trying to hide the sunset and trying to get a nice rim light here, which I don't believe he succeeded in doing. So in that case, maybe I honestly might have just moved her here, brought the sunset towards here in this general direction, took this one out because it doesn't really serve anything, and gave her a more dynamic pose here, maybe slightly front facing, about 3/4, and popped the flash from this general direction and gave a bit of shadow here. And yeah, so basically, yeah, that's what I would have done. Okay. Alright, so I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you did, please do consider subscribing to the channel, and while you're at it, click that notification bell so that you get notified every time I upload a new video. Now, if you have comments also with regards to what I discussed here, or some further clarifications or some questions, leave them in the comment section below and I'll gladly answer them when I have the time. Okay, till the next one.